Hello everyone, my name is Dominik Daniewski and I'm a pre-sales engineer in Datapolis, and today I'm going to talk to you about what's new in Datapolis Process System version 4.2. New features: Comments layer, workflow documentation generator, XML functions, and workflow history generator. The comments layer. First of all, why? Getting back to the process long after it was designed requires a lot of time to understand its logic. When several people work with the same process, they need to explain how it works to another. How? Comments layer in the workflow designer. Users can add comments to workflow states, actions, roles, and decisions. Comments are included in workflow documentation and workflow history. And what? Better workflow readability and easy change management. So now a live demo of this feature. We've got a workflow opened up, we've got a Datapolis Process System opened up, we've got a workflow, and now let's look at the new icon at the bottom of the screen. If I hover my mouse over this icon, I can see a draft of a comment. If I click to show comments, I can see a general comment about my workflow. Now I'm going to show you how can I add comments to states, how can I add comments to actions, and so on and so on. Well, so first of all, I'm just dragging and dropping, just as everything in Datapolis Process System, just using drag and drop. So I'm just dropping a comment field to my action. I'm just going to call it initial comment, for example. So this is how I can add comments to actions. As you can see, I can move it inside my workflow definition. I can as well add comments to states. So now I'm going to comment my first state, comment for the first state. As you can see, I can expand the comment field, I can move it. If I don't want to look at it, I can just hide it. But if I want to leave my work to someone else, for example, I'm responsible for the general diagram of the workflow, and someone has to make all the technical stuff, I can just send him a note like this is just a draft of a workflow. Okay, so this is how the comment layer works. Let's get back to my presentation. Second new feature, workflow documentation generator. This is very important. First of all, why? Some clients need their processes formally documented for reporting and compliance purposes. How can we achieve it? Documentation generator generates the example workflow documentation and presents it as HTML page. Workflow schema as collapsible lists. Documentation of states, actions, application, launch conditions, user roles, etc. So what has been done and what you receive? Data ready for reporting and compliance. Saves time on data search and collection. Now a live demo of this feature. So I've got a workflow, and now I want to generate workflow documentation. So I just click on a new icon, open workflow documentation. The information says that I have to save my workflow, and the documentation will be for the last saved version. So okay, I'm going to save my workflow now because I've made some changes. I've added some comments just for you. Okay, the workflow is saving. The workflow is now saving and publishing, and in a second I'm going to generate a documentation for you. Let's wait a couple more seconds. Okay, I think that everything's fine. Workflow was deployed successfully. So I'm going back to my workflow, and now I click on Open Workflow Documentation. and I can see the HTML file generated specially for me, which gives me all the information about my workflow. It's combined into sections. As you can see, those are collapsible lists, so I can read some information about workflow, some general information. I can get some information about workflow roles, workflow variables, workflow states. As you can see, this represents my workflow, so I've got my state called start, state 1, state 2, state 3, I've got the end state, all the states information, and so on and so on. I've got the workflow variables, what's happening in the start state. In the start states, we've got some actions like set variable, and so on and so on. So you can read all the information about your workflow in a text file, in a plain file. So you can just save it as a PDF and attach it as a workflow documentation. You don't have to write it. This is the automatically generated documentation for your workflow. Okay, great. Let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. The next part are XML functions. So why? XML is a popular format for data storage. Users need to collect data directly from XML documents. How? New functions in the edit lookup menu: get node or attribute, edit node or attribute, add node or attribute, and count nodes. So what do you receive? Automated data collection, integration with external services and XML databases, and of course the live demo of this feature. Let's go back to my designer, and I'm going to show you how I received what I'm going to show you. So in the initial actions, I've got some activities. The first activity is just a set variable. So I created a plain text variable, and inside this variable I'm using the XML, the new XML function. I've typed the XML here. Of course, you can get this XML from the web service. You can get it from a file stored somewhere inside your SharePoint ecosystem. However, I just typed the XML here and gave the XPath. So you just give the XPath to the node that you want to receive. I'm going to receive some information about my breakfast menu, the first food node, and I'm interested in the price of the first position in my breakfast menu. So the first price is $5.95, and I'm going to show you how to receive this information. So first of all, I get the information from the XML, store it inside my variable, and then just by using added items, I save this value in my field called from XML. Okay, so this is just what my workflow does. I'm going to go back to my demo list. I'm going to add some dummy element on which my workflow will run. My workflow is now in progress, and in the first step of the workflow, as you can see, the field from XML has been updated with the value from the XML file or XML definition I provided. So this is how you can receive, how you can use XML and parse XML inside your workflows. Let's go back to the presentation. The last new feature is workflow history generator. Why? Some clients wish to print workflow history in a clear format with only the necessary information. Approved documents needs an attachment. Who approved what and when? How can you get it? Workflow history generated in a simple printer-ready format. History saved in a table form. Basic information on states, actions, users, date, time, and comments. So what will you receive? Information on process instance ready for archiving and regulatory purposes. And you've got the improved UX and a live demo, of course. Let's go back to my virtual machine. I've got a workflow that's completed. I'm going to open up a workflow history page, and the new button that appeared here is print history. So if I click on print history, I received a pretty page just for a printout to attach to a paper form, for example, of your document. It gives me the workflow metrics and it says what has been done and when, by whom. So initial action, my name, launched on, and the date. State 1, what was the action taken? Someone approved the document. On the second state, someone approved the document, and so on and so on. So this is not a complex visual history page as you can normally use, like this. This is just what's new is just a printout page to have a workflow history. Let's go back to my presentation. Okay, what are the user benefits? So the comments layer, better workflow readability, easy change management, workflow documentation generator, data ready for reporting and compliance, saves time on data search and collection, XML functions, automated data collection, integration with external services and XML databases, and workflow history generator, information on process instance, ready for archiving and regulatory purposes, and improved UX. Thank you very much. Contact us if you've got some questions, and we encourage you to use our online test sites available at the web page that you can see on this page. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.